welcome everyone. So nice seeing all of you again. I'm, super happy, super pleased to see so many of you. And this is like the official introduction of the Apex and Commander here in Hong Kong. So even though it was, they were shown last year, we haven't had the chance to do so here due to COVID. But finally we are able to. And there's no doubt it is the most prestigious projects or products we have ever made at Gryphon, no doubt. It is the most ambitious stuff that we decided to do. Everything started like 3 years ago, or even more. We have always been discussing, should we do something even more ambitious than Mephisto, and will it make sense? And because, when at Gryphon, every time we do a new product, it has to be better than the previous one. But doing just a new Mephisto, that wasn't the thing we wanted. We wanted to do something far more impressive. So it was a matter of saying to Tom, our chief engineer, Tom Møller. Tom, he has been doing all electronic designs for Gryphon now more than 22 years, since November 1st, 2000.
He joined the company in 1999, right?
2000.
2000.
November 1st, 2000. He joined the company. And from that day, Tom has been in charge of all electronic designs. So every little Gryphon piece you see in this room, they are designed by Tom. Fleming, our founder, he was also the designer of the products in the past. Fleming did do the drawings for the Apex, the exterior drawings. That was like his swan song for Gryphon. But on the inside, all the electronics, they have always been designed by Tom, or always, since 2000. So when you see a Mephisto or Pandora or an Antillion Evo or Diablo 300, you name it, it's Tom's work. And like I said, this started more than 3 years ago. And we said to Tom, can you build something even more impressive? We give you free hands. You take your time. Don't think about the cost. Just take your time. Do whatever it takes to build the best preamp and to build the best power amp in the world. Just take your time. So there was kind of no pressure on Tom. The only pressure was to make the best preamp and make the best power amp. That was the only pressure, because there was no time pressure. So it all started. And during that time, we had lots of discussions, conversations, because we wanted to combine some of the previous products into the overall character of the Apex. So it's, you all know the Antillion Evo, the way that it plays the bass, stark, it's muscular. And we wanted to have that in the Apex. But we also wanted to have the control, the speed, the transparency from the Mephisto. Mm-hmm. And then finally, you all remember the Colosseum power amplifier, the vertical piece, which to me is the most beautiful Gryphon power amp ever designed by Fleming. And the Colosseum, the way it sounds is that it has a very natural flow. It doesn't have the same control, doesn't have the same speed as Mephisto, but it has a flow. It's very, very natural. So it's about taking all that into consideration, or actually putting everything into a big pot and then stir it around, and out came the Mephisto, or the Apex, sorry. Apex, it's just a different beast because it has twice the current of a Mephisto. We are talking more than 1 farad power capacity in the stereo version. So if you have a pair of monos, you have more than 2 farad power capacity. So it's actually strong enough so you can weld with it if you want to do that. So it's a machine. You only get like 25 more watts than a Mephisto, but it got so much more here. We're also using a new output transistor in the Apex. For years and years and years, we've been using Sancten. In this one, we're using a new version from Toshiba. Yeah. So we've been listening. Every time we are trying to implement a new specific component, we are building up prototypes with this specific component just to listen to the difference. So you have a prototype only with this particular. So you take, for instance, an Antilion Evo and say, okay, we're going to listen to this particular transistor. Then we build an Evo with that transistor and so on. And then you just play them against each other, matching and hearing and so on. Because it also comes down to not only the measurements, but they have to be right, but the ears. So we have a fairly large listening panel, and we all make notes, and then we compare notes. Say, okay, we like this, we like that, so on and so on and so on. So it's a very long process. It's not just like it takes Tom to design it and you say, yeah, good, that's it, go. It takes a lot of time. But it's also a very interesting process to be part of, and having this listening panel. Sitting there, meeting and knowing, oh, now we're going to listen to this and so on. It's a super nice way of doing it. The Apex is just something very unique. It weighs 202 kilos, and the Mephisto is 108 kilos. So it is significantly more heavy. But I think we made a very good and clever design, Patrick,
Yes.
with the box.
But we still need to 5 people to deliver it.
Yes.
This monster.
Yeah. But if you have it like on a hand truck, you can just slide it into the room, put it on the ground where you want to have it.
Yes.
Have the amp stand in front of it, and then we have this special fabric, this special cloth. I think you have seen it on YouTube and so on when I'm pushing the amplifier. You can do it by one man, one guy can uncrate it, which is very nice. Very nice that you can do that. I just spoke to one of my dealers in Ottawa, in Canada, Element Acoustics, and Draken said to me, hey, I just uncrated myself. It's just like sliding it on. And uncrating a beast at more than 200 kilos, that's pretty nice. The other thing that we did was, of course, the Commander. Commander is the biggest step we have ever taken from one reference product to another. Do I fancy the Pandora preamplifier? Yes. Do I think it's great? Absolutely. But is this from a different planet? For sure. So for me, this is like the masterpiece from Tom, I think. This is where he really, really showed how good he is in designing. And of course, the design is done together with our software engineer, Michael Madsen. Michael was originally educated at Gryphon years and years ago. And then he went to work for Dynaudio for, I think, 14 or 16 years. And he came back to Gryphon in 2018. And he's doing all the software, all the control things and so on. The Commander is very special in the way that it has been built up inside, because everything is mounted on constrained layers technology. So what we did was that we were actually looking at the standard rack, how it was designed. And then we implemented that technology. So inside the commander, everything is mounted on Kherok, bitumen, and stainless steel. But it is not touching the actual chassis. It is only attached to the spikes, this decoupling system. So everything is actually, it's vibrating so little. And I think that's one of the reasons why it is so sonic neutral, why it is so silent. Because playing the commander is like it's not here. So that was an important part for us when we did that design. On the rear side with all the connectors, they are not attached to the chassis either. There is a plate floating made from POM. It's the same material as you see here. And it's non-inductive and it resonates very little. So all the connectors, they're mounted to that. Still no contact with the chassis. And that's also very new to Gryphon to do it like that. So we have implemented new materials in the commander that we never used before in that type of design process. The touch display, as you see here, that's no longer acrylics. It's tempered glass that we're using. That's also very new. It's the first time ever that we're actually using glass for the front panel. There is also like a room detector device inside the commander. Because right now you can see the display is very large, it's 42, now it's muted. But when I step in front of it, right there, it comes alive. The power supply holds 4 big toroidal transformers inside. If you want to use it with our phonostates, the Legato Legacy, you actually just turn on the second pair of toroidal transformers in the menu, and then it runs the Legato. So it's super easy, super convenient that we have prepared it for other products as well. So that's a little bit, and we are still using this topology of the volume control. It is an attenuator, so you are having multiple relays, and you can play through a maximum of 1 resistor. That's how it's made. So that's probably the main reason why it's so silent and it's so neutral. Because I think all of you know that probably the most difficult part of a preamp is the volume control. And it's always the one causing, to smear the signal, or it doesn't make it sound right. So the volume control is very, very important to us. And it's something that we are working with from the very cheapest Gryphon, the Diablo 120. That's also an attenuator. It's not a regular volume control. That's how we do it.